Then what are the other two things which are increasing? Your attack vectors. What is attack vector? How you can pass into a network and create havoc, and what is attack surface? What is like, for example, the attack surface of this class is, I think we have only mobile devices. Anyone can come and barge into our mobile devices. Okay, as we proceed further, it is increasing. So I think the organizations today are facing this problem. So there are two things. One is on the left hand side, you see there are hundreds. I think the attack vectors, the way your company can be barged into, is increasing. You know, big time, and on the other side your device apps, like the way you store data, that's also increasing. So your risk, actually what happens, your cyber risk in a company is an intersection of the areas which are exposed for hacker to exploit, which is the devices, apps and user, and how they can exploit, which is the attack vectors. Okay, it is a combination of that. So this 3D picture suggests you that you have some green areas which are safe, some orange areas which are little vulnerable, but some red areas which are very high risk. Okay, so when I say cybersecurity is a data science problem, so I think I'll give you an exact data what happens. In a typical Fortune 500 companies, can you imagine how many cybersecurity and IT tools they use? Any random number? Okay, so if you cannot guess, I'll tell you. So it is 20 to 30 tools that they use only for cybersecurity, covering various aspects. I think normally we know only virus scan, but I think there are malware scan, there are endpoint detection systems, there are firewalls, there are cloud security systems. There are hundreds of systems which are there, which organizations are using. And on an average day, a Fortune 500 company, which is the top 500 companies in the world, how much of data these tools are emitting? It is very hard to imagine. So there, and we did that study in our company, my previous company, Valbrix. They are emitting around 0.2 petabytes of data. And what is a single petabyte? It is 1,000 terabyte. What is the 1 terabyte? It is 1,000 gigabyte. What is 1 gigabyte? It is 1,000 megabytes. And what we are talking about is 200 million megabytes of data, 200 million, not 2 million, 200 million megabytes of data in a day. These tools are emitting. And if you have to know, when I say cyber risk in real time, you should be able to understand the signals these tools are emitting and how those signals, you can understand the drivers of this. In this picture, these are the tools. The data is accumulated somewhere, which we used to call as brain, cybersecurity brain, and that used to help to deliver some outcomes which are specific to cyber risk. So 0.2 petabyte of data is a lot of data. Like I asked ChatGPT, like, help me explain that in a better way. So what it says is 0.2 petabytes is, if you think of an ebook, one ebook having of 1 MB, and that ebook is around 1 inch long, we are talking about a distance of 5,000 kilometers. That is the amount of data which is emitting every day, single day. So these systems have to be highly scalable to one. And what it used to do was the cybersecurity brain. If you don't understand this picture, it's absolutely okay. I think it's very hard to understand. But what's happening on the left side are the list of tools. On the right side are the outcomes, which are breach risk, how much the risk it is there, what vulnerabilities. Like yesterday, you guys learned about vulnerability management. So what are the list of vulnerabilities I should burn in my organization, and also what is my attack surface, what are the assets which are there. In between, if you see, there is an interconnected node of around 150 AI models which are there, which is helping to deliver this. This is the real-time application of what you are learning as a part of your course. So it helps to answer questions such as, what is the asset inventory? What is the specific versions of software I have? Right? And you may think that it is very easy to know, but most organizations struggle with knowing how many systems they have in their company. One company that we worked with, which is a Fortune 10 company, they had around, I think, some 5 lakh laptops, it's some insane number of laptops which are there or systems which are there, servers. And most of the time they didn't know which one are in use, which are not. And this is a very big problem in the IT industry. So essentially, cyber risk management is about three things. One is knowing organizational attack surface, which is what are the boundaries in which the attack can happen. Other is vulnerability management, which I think you know from your last session. And third is cyber risk quantification. What is cyber risk quantification? An average person, like a person who is leading the company, is not a cybersecurity expert. If he or she has to know how much cyber risk my company has, it has to be converted into the language that they understand. And cyber risk quantification is expressing cyber risk in dollar terms, like in the term of a currency, that my company has X amount of cyber risk right now. So what this system used to do, and I will try and explain. So understanding organizational attack surface, what it means. So for example, there are 10 people in the company. We know that 10 people are using 10 laptops. Suddenly when the company becomes 100 people, then also it is easy to manage. But if the company becomes like 100,000 people, then it is very hard to know, what are my assets, where they lie, how are they being used, etc. So there is a way to use AI to judge that. I think AI detects the entire network and figure out what is the asset which are there. But since multiple tools are used to store this asset information, so you have systems like your incident response system, your configuration management database, they are all emitting signals about asset, but not one tool has all the information about asset. So what AI used to do was, and the logic here used the large language models. These are like 6 sources of data which are telling this is the asset information you have. Half of the information that it has was duplicate. Like one tool had other tool's information, other tool has other tool's information, and it used the generative AI models to make sense of the data. And what generative AI models used to do were primarily 3 things. One was what is called as deduplication. What is deduplication? That if 3 tools are saying that I have same asset or same laptop, then it should deduplicate, which means it should be counted as only one. Then other thing it used to do was what is called as normalization. If one tool is saying, the tool, my laptop name is written as post name A, other tool is saying my laptop name is written as Anuj, third is saying my laptop name is written on company name. Normalization means it should be able to put all that in one format so that we know that it is only one laptop. And third thing is correlation, which means that one tool is giving me information about IP address, other is giving information about a MAC address, third is giving information about software. All this should be correlated and put in one system. And that's what this did. I think it had OS specific large language models. Then it had manufacturer specific, so it is a Dell laptop, HP laptop and all. So they were trained on a very, very small specific tasks which used to help to filter the information, and started to use the term that we are using right now. Knowing the attack surface, like how much assets you have, how many hardware assets you have in the company, it's a data science problem because all that information is available in 50 different tools, and to make sense of it, you need to have AI systems in place that can help you narrow down the numbers. Without this system, it will say maybe 5 times more asset, but you will actually have 1 by 5/5 of that. So what this used to do was, different tools have different features which were there, and then these models used to collate and then used to do the aggregation, it used to do the filtering part later on. So it's a very, cyber risk is a very unique case for content filtering and monitoring, because the definition of content is not a traditional, what we put on our YouTube, what we put on our Instagram or Twitter or any other tool. So the content is, here is different. Content here has risk parameters. It continuously monitors the unstructured data from 20-30 different tools, and then filter the data by categorizing the asset, deduplicating it, normalizing it. So, this was one of the most advanced content filtering system, monitoring system that I have been part of. Like I said, used some 150 AI models. And when I say, one like brain-like structure that you saw here, this is actually, very neural networks are represent the way our brains are. Like our brains, instead of our brains have neurons. Neurons have different connections with other neurons. In this case, the neurons are, each AI model is playing that part. It has input, output. It is to process the output and send it to the other, AI model which is there. And each of these parts, like except for the first and the last layer, they are all, the AI models which are working in sync to help you get the accurate cyber risk for the organization. Okay, so I think this is one of the more advanced courses, but what content monitoring and filtering principle you derive is that data fidelity is, fuels accuracy. Fidelity is about accuracy, that you have to have the accurate picture of cyber risk in your company, and the drivers of cyber risk are your assets, your vulnerabilities. Content monitoring is a marathon, it's not a sprint. What I mean by that is, like, most of the modern day systems are generating data which is at the scale that we humans cannot imagine, like this 0.2 petabyte that I talked about, and it is happening continuously every day around the clock. Synergy of multiple data sources is must, like your data is segregated in multiple places. You need to have systems that can collate everything and put it into one place. And AI is the only way. I think we used to say in our company that cybersecurity is a data science problem, number one, but second one was that it's not a human scale problem. Imagine having to sift through 0.2 petabyte of data every day. You can put armies of people, they won't be able to do, even if they are able to do job for one day, spending 24 hours, they'll make a lot of mistakes, which AI systems are very scalable to do. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Okay, so this is, next case is, I think somebody asked about, like, what use cases can you use content filtering and monitoring. We covered two so far. The first one was automatic weapon detection. Second one was the cyber risk management. Third one we are talking about is Amazon's review moderation process. I'll be covering, if we have time, one more, but actual applications is far beyond these. I think it is one of those technologies that work silently without telling you that I'm working. Content monitoring and filtering is happening behind the scenes, and that is the beauty of a best technology, that it works silently. It does not tell, disturbs you, saying that I have categorized your email, now I have done my job. So this is working silently in the background, most of these processes. But Amazon had something else. So Amazon review system had a human moderation step, which they had added as an added system. So this was my book that I talked about. So after this came out, I think that some comments started coming. Some friends put in there, and what they said was, like, Amazon is saying that it takes around 72 hours for them to review a book review comment that you have put in. So 72 hours in today's times is too much, because we are used to instant delivery of stuff, or what's happens. But I think they had a human moderation step put in for a specific reason. One of the things which has happened in the space of comments moderation is that, for example, a few authors got cancelled on social media because people broadly didn't like them, and when their book came out, they came to Amazon and started putting manufactured comments, lowering the rating, etc. So, and it happens a lot on YouTube also. Like, people can put in comments which can lower the rating of the views will be high, but it will have maybe 1 star or 2 star or whatnot. So the idea was that these companies, platform companies, they recognize that there is a possibility of a misuse of the system. So they added a human moderation, but only in certain cases where the systems flag that humans have to check this. So the intelligence of these systems, where generative AI is being used, or AI broadly, is that they help human to detect. Humans cannot go and scan 1,000 comments a day or 10,000 comments a day. So AI has to do its job, filter the first set, and then tell humans, these are the ones I'm not sure of, you check and flag it out. So in case of the book review comment, what is the content? So content here refers to any customer submitting data related to reviews. Okay, what does that mean? Textual review, I can go and put a text comment that I like this book, this. Then second is you can put pictures, like some people book picture, their picture with the book, etc. That I like it, etc. with a smile. Third is the metadata, which is the ratings, review timestamp when it happens, etc. Fourth is also the sentiment, the emotional tone of the review, right? Whether it is positive, negative. And then there are some behavioral indicators which are there. So generative AI systems of today, they do a fabulous job of, even if you can go to ChatGPT and give it a review comment, and it can give you very detailed information on what kind of review moderation it has. And I'll show you, I can show you that. Okay, so this is one of the tools. I hope it works. This is one of the tools where I already gave the comment. That one of the positive comments from the book. Oh, sorry. This won't show. Okay. Okay. Looks like it is only. Okay, I'll come to that. I think it is only showing the presentation right now, so I'll change the setting later on. So the idea is that you put a review comment standalone on any generative AI tool. It does a great job of filtering and monitoring and categorizing the comments in various categories which is there. Okay, so how do these systems work in case of Amazon, right? So if you see, the first step is data collection, like someone submits the review, which is there. And then there is data storage, somewhere it has to be stored. Amazon itself has its own data storage services like DynamoDB, S3, Redshift. I think depending upon the use case, some are S3 is predominantly used for storing the data for a longer period of time. DynamoDB is like faster access to data. So depending upon there is a review ingestion and processing where I think the serverless Amazon Lambda and data type pipelines it goes through. And then there is an automated content analysis which is done by NLP models. And then Amazon has its own service. If I'm able to show my screen, I'll show that, which is called as Amazon Comprehend. So what does Amazon Comprehend do? It basically, you put a text to that, it will convert that text to whether it has harmful content or not, whether it has high positive sentiment, low positive sentiment, etc. And then there is an image analysis if the tool has image too, right? And modern day generative AI systems are getting very good at analyzing images, which was not the case 2 years back. I think they are very good at that. Filtering and categorization. After this data is collected, ingested in the pipelines, there is a machine learning algorithm which does the filtering and categorization. And again, GenAI models are getting very good at filtering and categorizing these. And then there is an alert generation. Like I said, you feed in at any given point hundreds of comments to the AI model, and then it will generate an alert for human that out of these 100, 990 are good. My confidence level is high. 10 are something that you need to review, which goes to the review management dashboard. And then a human does the review wherever it is necessary, and they need to get involved. That's where their time limit is 24 to 72 hours. Maximum it can take around 72 hours for them to review a comment. And then they also have invested in response automation, analytics and reporting, and continuous learning and optimization. The last step is important because the models also learn from the data, newer data which is coming. So generative AI, I think this is how it works. And if you have to reimagine these systems from generative AI, which I imagine Amazon currently is doing a lot because they have thought through their development processes a big time in the last 5-6 months. And if you have to do that, there are different parts that can be done. I think number one, you remember sometime back I asked about what is multimodal. Anyone remembers what does that mean? Multimodal. AI that can hear, speak, and talk, right? So which is, you can use AI in different modalities, different modes. It's not only text, it can be image, it can be, the newer models which are coming, ChatGPT today launched, I need to test it out. I can just put my camera out and ask it what is there, it will say garden. It might also say, I put it there, it will say Epson, which version of this print, the projector is from which version, etc. So multimodal is important here because comments can be put in multiple modes. You can put text, image, and video also. I think, and which is what normally happens. So generative AI systems helps to do that in a great way. And then image recognition and analysis is another place where it helps a lot. And then almost in every step can be reimagined with that. I tried. Can I just want to show something, but I'll just try once so that so this is what I was saying, the content moderation example. So what I did was, this is a tool called as Cloud, which is same as ChatGPT, but from a company called as Anthropic. What I did was, I gave it one of the comments from my book, which was there, and asked it to, it is a positive comment, because I wanted to feel good about what was written. But it generates the negative comments also. But what I asked it was, help me assess all possible content moderation parameters. It gave like 14 parameters. I asked it, put it in table, and this is how it says. So the comment had no profanity, hate speech, misinformation, not present. He said personal information, he said it's present because it had my name in this, like that. So these are the modern day tools, and it didn't take a minute for it to generate that. It just analyzed the comments and categorized the entire moderation comment which is there. And I'll also show the example while I'm on this. I hope this works. Okay. So this is a visual moderation tool called as Hive.ai. And what I fed into this was an image of a person carrying a gun. Okay, the automatic weapon detection that I talked about. You see on the right hand side, the parameters it has gun in hand is one. Natural, it is in the natural surroundings, text. So they have hundreds ways in which this can be, like, does it have alcohol or not? Like, I mean, hundreds ways it can figure out, does it have knife or not? So these systems are already there, available for usage for us. Okay. So I think any questions on this one? This is one of the older ways in which the moderation is being used. Any question on this? Okay, silence I would infer as no question, but you can ask now or even later also if you are shy to ask. So I asked like what is Khan Academy. I think if you have not seen, you can see. So Khan Academy is one of the first edtech companies of the world, and the founder Salman Khan, not the actor Salman Khan, but he is the educationist, and he started this company by talking to, teaching his kids remotely, not kids, like cousins remotely, and he figured out the potential of internet to teach, over, and this was like in early 2000s. And he formed this company, Khan Academy, but when OpenAI was about to launch ChatGPT, it reached out to few partners, and from education side they picked up Khan Academy, and they say that this is what is coming up, ChatGPT, and help us figure out what is the education use cases for this. And they got along and they invented this system called as Khan Vigo. Okay, I'll show a glimpse of what it does. If you're interested in this space, this is a book that he came, which was a fabulous book. Talks a lot about content monitoring, filtering, and how generative AI can be used in education for the education purposes. So this is a tool which has inbuilt content filtering and monitoring systems built, and we are doing some work with university in Goa where we applied some of these concepts, where it is for teachers to knock off some of the, it can act as a teaching assistant, like you can use it to generate lessons, a lot of other things. Learners it can use to help you prepare and learn using the tool. And third is for parents, they can help parents do the homework and also monitor how kid is using AI, etc. So in case of Khanmigo, the content, what does it do? It is an AI-powered tutoring and teaching assistant. It uses a more Socratic method tutoring, which involves initiating a dialogue. There is a concept which is being tried for some time, and I'm sure some of you may know about it, which is called as flipped classroom. So what is a flipped classroom? Basically, in traditional classroom settings, you use classroom to teach, like I'm doing right now, or you will do in your classes. But in a flipped classroom, what happens is, now since a lot of learning is already available in video form, AI is available, you guide students to watch these videos in their outside of the class, so that you're not repeating what is there on the internet, and use Socratic teaching methods, which is questioning and during the classroom of the information that students have learned remotely. And what that means is that you are spending the time reinforcing the concept in the class rather than learning that a person would have learned already outside. So there has been a lot of experiments which are done in this field and they are quite ahead in this thing. And they have content filtering and monitoring. As you can imagine, an education system has to have a content filters in place. Why? Because AI can generate a false output. AI is trained on a biased data, can really cause you to learn things in a wrong way. So there are content filtering and monitoring systems which are in place, and it is an efficiency and time savers for teachers. And this is how it looks like. There is a teacher view of this. So for example, you can use it to create a lesson plan. You can use it to create a real world application of the concept that you're trying to teach. You can use it to create a multiple choice assessment question. You can use it to create a lesson hook, right? How do you start a lesson with an interesting story, etc. So there are a lot of curated ways in which you can use this. But from our purpose, what we are discussing today, the content here, what is content here? So you are encouraging student to learn using AI. So student inputs what kind of question he or she is asking and how they are interacting with the AI system. AI generated response. So AI is in turn generating response. That is again from which the student is trying to learn. You have fed education, your books into the AI tool, which it is additional context for it, which is again a content here. And then you have interaction related to learning processes, like the student does not stop, or teacher does not stop at just asking questions. They also ask follow-up questions. They also confirm their understanding, and a lot of steps which are there. So interestingly, Khanmigo, it's built totally on generative AI technology and principle. It uses GPT-4. It has a user input collection like a GPT-like interface, which I just showed, where you can just chat and feed in your questions. There is a content analysis and response generation, which is done via GPT-4. And then there is content filtering, which is done. There are safety checks. So safety is a feature in this tool, not like something which is an add-on. And then there is a response delivery, which comes after these checks on the response. Then there are logs. So whatever student feeds in there, it is fed as a log. It is saved so that it is there for the future reference and for the review by parents also. Then there are usual alert generation that if it is being used in a wrong way, the teacher is alerted. There is a continuous monitoring system which is there. Monitoring dashboards are there on how many questions students have asked, what are they using it for, what kind of questions they are using it for, etc. And then there are usage limits, which is also important because where we failed in social media was that social media, there is no usage limit. Like, you start watching reels, you won't end. Like, there is no, it is infinite scroll. It just goes on, till you say that, I wasted my life in my last 15 minutes. But what this tool has is also the usage limit, because you don't want overexposure of AI. Like, you learn not only through AI, it's not the only way to learn, but also through the interactions with people, through nature, etc., which is there. But what is interesting about the system is what is called a dual layered AI system. And these two layers work together. And these are ground up built on generative AI, unlike other examples I shared. So what is dual layer here? One is the content safety filtering. And what is the example of content safety? Like, for example, a student says, some language which he or she is not supposed to use, then there is a safety filter there. Or there is an image which is not related to the subject being talked about, so there are safety guidelines, automated safety features there. Or it says that I'm bored of this subject, like that disengagement. So there is a safety around that also. So there is a safety layer which is there, which is working in real time with what is called as the layer which shapes the learning interactions. So like you are learning, you are asking it questions, and the safety layers also monitors these questions which are being asked, and in real time it gives the feedback that this question is there or not. And same thing happens with the AI response also. AI gives the response back, and the safety layer even assesses the AI response, which is trained to assess certain patterns which are not appropriate in a learning scenario, and it says that you cannot. And I think one of the example of that is we talked about bias. We talked about you're teaching political science to a student, and most of these tools are built on a biased data. I think Google was in trouble. It does not in the early versions of the model they did the discrimination against people of color, etc. I think there were a lot of those issues which were there. So those kind of interactions the tool does not monitor. So there is a very but this dual layer system works very in conjunction with imparting learning and also checking whether the learning is right or not. It is constantly being updated, and that's how it is enhancing educational integrity, which is there. So few principles that you derive from this is transparency and accountability. So teaching, our teaching is one of the most important aspect of one lives of learning overall. So there has to be the right kind of transparency and accountability, which is missing in the public AI tools which are there, like ChatGPT and few others, which are not always built ground up on those principles. Dual layer moderation is important, not only what student is saying, but also what it is, what AI is responding back. So there are dual layer moderation which is happening. And it overall encourages responsible use. There are blocking mechanisms. So safety is a feature. So anything that can go wrong, they have programmed the tool or trained the model in such a way that that can be caught at the right time, in a real time, after people preventing people from learning in a wrong way. Okay. So I know we have 3-4 minutes left. So anyone who want to answer this question before we? What role does AI moderation filters play in Family-Go's content filtering and safety checks? It's content. The trick part is it is content filtering. It's not content monitoring. So what does monitoring filtering do? Yeah. C. Most of you agree? Yeah, it is C. It is C only. So they check for harmful or inappropriate content and test it. So I think one of the ideas I wanted to pick up because all of you are from the the teaching, learning related to it in some ways or form. So it is important to know the role content filtering and monitoring is playing in these applications. So as far as I know, India's AgTech companies are not thinking in this direction right now, but I mean, to me, this is a very given use case in education that in some way, shape and form, it won't like 100% replace the way we do teaching right now, but some way it will augment and make it better, the infusion of AI systems which are there. Okay. I wanted to show tools, a couple of which I already showed. I think this links I'll share with you. So there are tools which are in which you can try out these filtering and moderating mechanisms. I showed you this video example of putting in a gun image and it recognizes gun image, and this is at our disposal right now. I think which are available. And then IBM Watson, which is one of the oldest AI systems which is there. They have a natural language understanding. This one is not based on generative AI, but I think some of these systems are legacy in some sense. It use the older methods of AI. And Amazon Comprehend is another one which is important. Comprehend does, as the name suggests, comprehension. You give the text, it will divide it into different categories that I showed, which were happening in Claude. And Amazon also has a system called recognition with a K. So it does the image, you post the image there, it will give you, this image has some red flags or not, etc. So I think we have a couple of minutes before we move to paper discussion, right? We can talk about any question, comments, feedback we will have. One of the best ways to use AI systems is to ask it questions. That holds good for humans also. Please don't. I think there is nothing called as a bad question. Right. So, so your question is like, how do we frame the problem statement in a way? Right. 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 How does this tool help? Yeah, I think so. There are many ways it can help. For example, the system that you are, trying to improve is in a PDF form, right, or whatever. Like you've written content in a PDF form. So the modern day models which are there, they can help you talk to PDF and say, help me find. I tell you what I used it for yesterday. Okay, so we were getting into the contract with one of the companies. They sent the contract document, which was as boring as all the contract documents are. It had like some 20 pages of legal language. I put this document in the tool and asked it to help me identify the red flags. Okay, so it helped me identify red flags. I didn't take it on face value. I said like, okay, this part I have to read, and then I cross-questioned it for the remaining part, because cross-questioning is very important in the reasoning model for some reason. Some researchers have done the research to figure out if you ask it to, after you have asked the question and it gave the response, if you ask it to reread the question again, it may give you a different response. Because that, for some strange reason it works like that, the people who did the research around that. So in order to improve this, the core principle which is there, which in corporate they talk about from developer or product managers. Product managers in the future are going to be more important with the AI tools, because product managers know what to build. So knowing what we want is the first step. And then I think there are ways to narrow down the prompts, like you assign it a persona. For example, the case that you're talking about is a code, then say that act like a Kent Beck. So Kent Beck is one of the legendary developers. So actually it acts, give it a persona, it acts like that person it gives you. If you need an input on a management case study, just say that act like a Peter Drucker or Steve Jobs, and tell me how will it think. And then you are narrowing down the scope with subsequent interactions. It works, I think, but the trick is, I always say, to become a power user, invest in at least for 1 month, getting the paid version of the tool. Just list down 50 problems that you wanted solved. Try it for yourself, it will shoot up the productivity a big time. Yeah. Because paid models has early access to feature, it has more better reasoning. You can use it for longer. Free versions can be 4 or 5 messages only. It dries out. Any other questions? I think. So we'll start with the paper discussion now. How do we start? Like we have the paper. I'm just asking for a format. So
the paper has been already uploaded on the portal and also shared in WhatsApp group also. So you can download it.
As usual, you just be a group of what are the groups that will be formed on Monday. So you have to submit it Telegram or something. So just take it to one of the group leaders.
Hey, how many of you actually read the paper? I think you can be frank. Oh, they'll read now. Okay. No, I'll tell you. The reason I was asking was there is a very interesting tool if you are interested to use the tool, which is called as Notebook LLM. Okay, this is a Google's tool, and what it does is if you are short on time, like most of us are for some things or the other, it can help to change the paper into an audio discussion. So okay. I'll just try to use it now. Is it okay? I can show one small demo. So this is like this notebook LLM is still in experimental mode. So what it does is, okay, this was the paper, right? Privacy and security concerns in general AI. So I uploaded this tool. Okay, so what it did, it is still processing. It has actually very good educational use case. So one is that it will give me a summary. I can talk to it, like ask it question like what is this paper about, etc., and be as curious as possible. Second interesting thing it does is it helps to generate an audio overview of this. It takes a bit of time. I'll just see if I have it here. If you click on generate there, it will help you generate. I'll just try to open. Okay.
Yeah. Chance, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a speaker here.
AI generated image that went viral.
And it's interesting.
So what it did was it converted the whole document to a conversation. You can hear two people talking, and what they do is they distill the information and tell that what is the gist of this paper and all that. You can just listen to it, and but it's not a replacement for reading. If you listen to this first and read it, I think you'll be able to grasp a lot more and a lot faster. I know some of you may be thinking I should have told you yesterday, so I didn't want to. So I think we're done. I can do sound. Okay, you can listen to it a little bit.
So easily. Like, what are the implications?
That's exactly what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
This research, privacy and security concerns in generative AI, and honestly, it's a bit of a doozy.
It's not.
Published just this past March. It's like a roadmap of everything that could go wrong with AI, especially when it comes to us, our privacy and security.
Right.
But don't worry, we're giving you the cheat sheet version here,
Yeah.
highlighting what really stood out to us. So they break down these risks into 5 categories, almost like a 5-headed beast of AI dangers.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun way to think about it.
I like it.
And get this, they use this app, VAL, maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, vaguely.
It lets you put your face on movie characters.
Right.
Went super viral for a hot minute
So,
as a case.
I don't know whether you want to listen early. I think this time will be better spent listening to it, but I think that this tool is there to currently freely available, but the idea is that you got it right. There are 2 people conversing, and it just converted the gist. But I'll repeat that it's not a replacement for not reading it, because like any AI system, it can also hallucinate, and it can but it's very useful if you're short on time. You get crisp summary, or even if you have time and you want to grasp that reading material better, that's how I use it. Like you're driving, you read this, listen to this, then you go back and read it. It is faster to read and grasp and complete.
User perspective. What could happen?
So there is, since we are mostly from computer science background, there is another tool called as Google Illuminate. So Google Illuminate does the same thing, but with the research papers. So it has host of research papers. Maybe I don't want to take out the time, but I think that's like too interesting to not talk about it. But it takes the research papers and you can actually make listen to it like a 70-page paper in 30 minutes, and then read the paper. It will give you much better understanding of things. So see, the way we are learning is evolving. I think we also need to evolve and use these tools, but more in ethical manner. These are not replacement of human intelligence, but these will augment the ways you learn in a better way.
Thank you, Anil sir, for sharing your knowledge in the domain of application of AI in content filtering and monitoring. Thank you, sir. On behalf of Vivekananda Institute of Technology, I would like to kindly accept this memento as a token of our gratitude. So now already we have formed our teams, right? So paper also has been shared in the WhatsApp group and as well as in the ATAL portal. So you can read the article, discuss among yourself and come out with the findings. And each team has to come forward here and you have to present it.
40 minutes.
So good morning all. So myself Dr. Rangaswamy from Dr. Ambedkar Staff Technology with our team members Jan sir, Mukund Swami sir and Rajesh sir. So first and foremost I would like to thank Anush Kumar sir for his informative talk on generative AI applications in content modeling and all. So it was very useful and informative sir. Thank you for your information. So, as we know from last 2 days, we are learning AI models and applications. And you also know today AI has entered into all fields, whether you take education, medical, in all sectors it has become common. So, it is quite common to know the challenges and privacies. So, in this regard, this paper discusses what are the challenges and privacies we need to ensure while learning AI and its applications. So, we have listed some key points which will throw lights on these AI applications. The first one is the training data for generative models often contains sensitive information which can resurface in the generative content leading to database breaches. Next one is personal data entered into generative AI ops may be shared publicly, risking identify threats and personal violations. So as we share our data, it also leads to breaches. And the challenges in ensuring robustness against malicious usage, and it highlights the current security challenges also. And apart from this, other takeaway points are encrypt data and use secure environment for data processing, and establish clear guidelines on the types of data that can be used for AI training, and implement role-based access control. And more discussion of this paper focuses on lack of clear guidelines for ownership and control of data generated by users using generative AI, which can potentially lead to authorized distribution of creative content. So with this, we have know the challenges, what are the privacy and challenges we need to know while using generative AI, because today, as I said, it has entered in all fields. By using generative AI, apart from we should know how to implement and what are the challenges. So with this, I thank you once again from my team. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My team name is Digital Defenders. First of all, it was great session by Mr. Anuj Magazine, sir. We truly inspired by your perception about your career, and we got helpful information from this session. We felt interesting during questioning time because it helped us to understand overall function about that particular topic, and also explaining with your live examples from your journey is also quite interesting. And finally, thank you very much for explaining us in very detailed manner and also in very practical manner. And from privacy and security concerns in generative. So from the research paper Privacy and Security Concerns in Gen AI, a comprehensive survey, we got some findings. So first key principle is user privacy. Protecting user privacy and ensuring consent in the usage of GenAI is fundamental concern techniques like privacy preserving techniques to safeguard data. And next point is adversarial security. Generative models must be robust against adversarial attacks which can exploit vulnerabilities. And the next point is ethical AI development responsibilities of developers, ensuring transparency, fairness, and accountability to prevent misuse. And the last point is organizations need effective regulations, strong governance structure, and policies for safe deployment. And the application principles are like implementing privacy person techniques like differential privacy and federated leveraging to protect sensitive data, and using adversarial training and input validation to enhance guidelines, avoiding bias and promoting fairness in decision making. Two-factor authentication can comprehend, be aware of it. And some of the key takeaways that we found are like privacy utility trade-off of individual techniques may reduce quality of AI. Deepfakes represent a major privacy and security concern as they can manipulate personal data. Lack of clear legal ownership of AI-generated content about copyrights and ID. Constant updates in ongoing regulatory frameworks. So the multi-faceted privacy and security challenges for need of robust defense mechanisms, regulatory frameworks, and ethical considerations posed by GenAI. So these are our team's findings about this research paper. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity, and I thank Vidya ma'am and Anuj sir for this great session. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. Thank you, Anuj sir and Vidya ma'am for conducting this wonderful session. Mainly key principles that we found from this principle are generative AI specific concerns like deepfake detection, identifying and mitigating manipulating media. And the second principle is about privacy preserving models often comprise data utilizing, leading to a balance between privacy and quality. And effective data handling governance and risk mitigation strategies, ensuring that generative AI decisions are transparent and critical for trust and accountability. Mainly applications we found in this principle are applying federated learning to financial installations and developing systems to detect and remove deepfake and social media platforms, establishing frameworks for determining intellectual property. And main key takeaways from these found in principles are generative AI presents significant privacy and security risk. And second key takeaway is the balance between privacy and data utilizing is critical. And deepfake technology is both beneficial and dangerous. Necessity for stronger detection and regulatory frameworks. Thank you, Ananda.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Purnima RD, and my team members Yashasvi, Divya, Rajeshwari, and Sneha are representing Team AI Pro. Firstly, I would thank Anuj sir for such an informative and interesting session. The discussion regarding the 4 use cases was very engaging, and we have gained a lot of knowledge from this session. Coming to the article discussion titled Privacy and Security Concerns in Generative AI, the key principles are the various approaches that are being employed to address the privacy and security concerns in generative AI, such as privacy-preserving techniques, adversarial defense mechanisms, and regulatory measures and policies. Privacy-preserving generative models based on generative adversarial networks or variational autoencoders can provide privacy guarantees during the data generation process. And it also highlights the current society strategies and proposes sustainable solutions emphasizing user, developer, institutional, and policymaker involvement. Coming to the applications of principles, all the principles are the ownership and control of user-generated content, training instability, lack of interpretability, adversarial attacks, and regulatory frameworks. The key takeaways are the recommendations for addressing privacy and security concerns in generative AI and the potential strategies, guidelines, and best practices for enhancing privacy and security in the training and deployment of generative AI models. Now, coming to the conclusion part, the discussions regarding the advancement of defensive techniques through cutting-edge neural networks such as multimodal neural networks emerges as a proactive measures against adversarial activities and also offers a collective approach for data and privacy security. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, a very thank you for Anu sir for a very informative and interactive session today. Thank you so much. We have gained more interest in this subject. Thank you so much. We'll explore more in this space. So we, our team AI Explorers have discussed the article Privacy and Security Concerns in Generative AI, a comprehensive survey. Here we have found out some principles, applications and key takeaways from the paper. Some of the principles are generative AI models focus on protecting user data, ensuring privacy through privacy-preserving techniques. It ensures the security and privacy principle. Generative AI should comply with the data protection laws, example GDPR and CCPA, and intellectual property rights to safeguard user information. This follows the regulatory compliance principle. Applications like use AI to generate art, music, and design content with enhanced creativity. Use AI to detect anomalies and defend against security breaches and attacks. Some of the key takeaways are generative AI models are prone to adversarial attacks, making ongoing defensive improvements necessary. Existing legal frameworks struggle to keep pace with the advancements in AI, requiring more specific guidelines. And to conclude, generative AI offers immense potential across various sectors, but presents critical challenges in privacy, security, and ethics. Balancing data protection with utility, enhancing defenses against attacks, and ensuring compliance with ethical and legal standards are crucial. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I thank Anuj sir who gave the practical assumption, right, the practical sense of this generative AI and its usages. So myself, Shailesh from VKIT, the team name VKIT AICS, and my teammates Deepthi Madam, Vishwanath sir, Basura sir, and Soumya Madam. So the principles what we extracted from this particular paper, so basically the monitoring and incident response and the deep fake generation. So this to be avoided. Basically the deep fake generation, first principal concern. And second thing is data privacy and exposure. So where to expose these some privacy, maybe the private data in connection to the organization or maybe any sector concern. The third one is manipulation and the misinformation. This is what exactly happening all across. So this has to be how to avoid this particular aspect. The next one is intellectual property and the copyright version concern or copyright issues basically. So this is valid for academics concern who write a book, maybe concerned to the any paper published. Some plagiarism kept happening and usage of this, the artificial, ChatGPT information to be put to detect that, then which is the genuine statement in making the paper or making the any sort of reports concerned, both in the profession as well as in the any other business sectors concerned. The key takeaways here are the regulatory challenges to be known to everyone, then how to frame the challenges, and data privacy risk. Again, I repeat this, the takeaways, data privacy risk is the main one where exactly we have to be very alert about our, maybe regarding our information in the laptop or maybe the information in the bank or maybe in any business entrepreneurship information concern. And clear ethical guidelines to be framed from the point of our society, Indian society concern, and the lack of interpretability, and this has to be improved, and the regular auditing and bias detection. These are the key takeaways from this particular paper. Thank you one and all. I thank the Department of CS, HOD Madam, and Anush sir again, once again, who gave the gumption, again, practical sense. Because if you give anything with some story, it is easily understandable. So the same thing happened from the from yesterday as well, from Dr. Manish Kumar sir. Even today, that same thing is continuing from the Anuj sir as well. Thank you one and all.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, I'm Havila, and this is our team Ethical Hacker. So, thank you for giving this opportunity to list out all the key findings from the research article. So, the principal key points from this research article that given by the management are compliance with regulation and minimizing the data exposure and safeguarding against unauthorized access, protecting against extraction of sensitive data from models, and the key findings from the research article we have been for protecting personal data to ensure compliance and trust, generative models facing risks like model inversion and adversarial attacks, stay updated on legal requirements for compliance, work with experts from various fields to enhance responsible AI practices, establishing frameworks to prevent harmful content generation. So by these key findings and principal key points from the research article, the conclusion we have drawn is that addressing privacy and security in generative AI is vital for building trust and ensuring responsible use, prioritizing data privacy, implementing strong security measures, and establishing ethical guidelines can mitigate risk. And I thank you, Anand sir, for making us to get aware about the knowledge about the risks and problems that are related in AI. So thank you, sir, and thank you.
On behalf of the team, I thank HOD madam also and management. Thank you.
I thank Anuj sir for the session. I thank Vidya ma'am also. And the topic we are from Group 5. The topic is privacy and security concerns in generative AI. The key generative AI helps to generate lifelike data, study on GI architecture, diverse generative model types, practical applications within the field, analysis of deepfake incidents, privacy in synthetic data, attacks on generative models. Many opportunities employed to address the privacy and security concern in generative AI. A holistic and extensive coverage illuminate the multi-phase challenges with privacy and security of generative AI. There is classification framework for privacy and security in generative AI. RNN in field of AI designed to tackle data, identified the need for PPLD. Discuss the attack methods, their impact, defense mechanisms. The key takeaways from the article: consider the privacy and security concerns of generative AI, establishment of interdisciplinary in tasked with global data. Networks offer protection, enhancing system resilience across different data types. GAI able to create fake content. AI generate authentic looking files. AI models, when trained on personal data, may not always analyze it properly. Thank you.
So, all of you, thank you so much. I think all the presentations were great, great summaries. I was looking at great handwriting also. I looked at, overwrote wrote the content. I just want to ask, some of you use this term called as federated learning models. You also use the term called as differential privacy and deepfakes. Anyone would want to explain what these are? Sorry if you thought my questions are over, they are not. No, but it's good, we are here to learn, so it's important to question some assumptions around how we are consuming. Any questions, any perspective around these three terms? You can ask ChatGPT and respond also, that's also okay. Deepfake is easy, right? Yeah. Yeah, fake images. There was Time magazine, the Time magazine came up with this 100 most influential people in AI list very recently, I think 2 weeks back. And it had a couple of surprising names. One name was Anil Kapoor. So Anil Kapoor is Time magazine's top 100 influential people in AI. Anil Kapoor, you know, right? He's an actor. He tries to act in Bollywood movies. Sorry if some of you are fans. So I think how did he end up there in the Time magazine list? One of the, I think when it says top 100 influential people in AI, I believe Time magazine was trying to also honor some contribution to people from alternate fields did. And one of the things that he did was he won a case against using his trademark, whatever expressions and words he uses, which were being used in deepfake technology earlier. And I think he has, most of the actors who become successful, they have their style which gets impersonated by people. And deepfake is very ripe for those kind of things. So deepfakes essentially also uses, there is a type of model which is called as generative adversarial GAN, right? GANs. So what happens in deepfakes is that it has two components. One is creator, other is destructor. The role of creator is to create a deepfake. The destructor is to prove that it is wrong. And there is a game which happens between creator and destructor. And once destructor loses, I think that is a deepfake that goes out. So Anil Kapoor figured out that a lot of people were copying it, and he won a case against it. So deepfake is a big concern in elections everywhere. Who will tell about differential privacy? Differential privacy, right? That's what the term which was used in the paper. Okay, that's okay if you don't know. I think you can just say, you can ask question, right? What could it be? Like, I think let me put it this way. What could it be? Differential privacy. It is related to privacy, that is known. Since we are talking about AI, so it is maybe related to AI also, that is also known. So differential means it adds some difference, so I think that is also known. So
how effective that is for the society concern. Many people do not really know about
the privacy. So there is a real life application of differential privacy. I think people, as far as I have read and understood, so Apple follows differential privacy in its AI model. So what does that mean? So it still learns from your data, like whatever is there in their devices, but before the data is sent to server, it adds noise to it. What is meant by noise? Like your personal information that can help Apple identify who you are. That information is masked or noise before it sends. So differential is that it only sends the portion of the data which metadata which Apple can learn from without exposing your personal details to the model and their servers. So and Apple is known to practice that for a long period of time. I think there was a case, I'm forgetting, the federal agencies were behind Apple because they had found, I don't know, some terrorist or I don't remember who, their mobile phone, and they said like, you have to jailbreak this system for us so that we can know the secrets. But Apple promises to its customers that we don't tamper with your privacy. So that was a lot of ethical discussion that happened. A company like Apple following these principles, and the FBI also has a genuine case that this guy is, terrorist or whoever that guy was on to destroy the humanity, should they have shared or not. But I think they won the case. The third term was federated learning models. Like, what does that mean, federated learning models? So I think the paper talks about these models as a technical solution to the privacy and security issues. So, which comes under the broader bucket of privacy preserving deep learning, which the deep learning models which are built primarily with privacy in mind. So what will federated learning means? It is related to model training only. So yeah. So if you have, I think most of us use Android phone, at least I use. So there is a keyboard inside there. So keyboard, after some time, it starts predicting what the next step could be. Okay, so you might start to imagine that Google is sending all your keystrokes to server and it is doing the stuff. I think whatever I have learned and understood is that Google uses on the phone something called as federated learning models. So federated means that part of the learning happens on the phone using these models, which are like lightweight to deploy, but it helps to do the stuff which is supposed to be remaining local to your system. Which means that you type something, whatever, and after some time, type your kid's name or your parent's name, or it will start predicting that name after some time. I'll believe Google if they say they don't take it, but they use federated learning model to make sure that the learning is federated, which means that it is not happening in one place, it is happening in a couple of places. Not like at one server or a farm which hosts all these GPUs there. So, these are the tactics that people are using, and they'll have to rely on more as what's happening with AI, like what happens with all other general purpose technologies, is that regulation is always trailing the technology. Technology is moving this fast. I think if you see ChatGPT 3.5, which came like 1 year, 10 months before, if you start using it now as against today's model, you will laugh at what ChatGPT 3.5 was doing. But if you ask me how many regulations have come between these 1 year and 10 months, there are very few which are in force right now. Which means that all these big AI companies have their free run to build models that they want to learn. So that has always been the challenge. The companies are, technology is always behind the regulation is always behind the technology, because Amazon invested a lot in drone deliveries. Even their, one of their videos came after theirs, which showed drone delivery happening. I don't know whether you remember, like from one place to another. After that video came, their stock price rose 5%. Only that video came like 7 years back, and till today we don't have drone deliveries. Main reason is not technology. Main reason is that regulation is behind, because for regulating drones you need like traffic system on the sky. There are hundreds of other things which are there that needs to be done. So, but I think AI models, with the kind of disruption that they are causing, most likely, we should see something happening faster on this front. But thank you. I think just wanted to share. But thank you for sharing all your learnings from the paper too. And try out that notebook LLMs like I said. It's a very good hack to save your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll break for lunch, and we'll come back after the lunch. Sir is already there with us. Drumil Shah sir is already there. So now we'll have a break for lunch, and we'll come back soon. One more announcement, we'll have a photo with Anil sir. Anil sir and Drumil Shah sir also.
registration form, sir.
Thank you.